Good morning, students. In this video, we are going to discuss chapter 3, terminology and basic concepts of information process. See, you know that very well, data is available abundantly, but data cannot be used as it is until otherwise they are processed into an information. Data cannot be used as it is until otherwise they have been processed into an information. Why? For example, in the previous classes, we discussed that whenever the employee enters, he will go to thumb machine and he will put the thumb. Now, the data has gone. There is only a data. But what is the purpose? What I am going to do now? Now, this is the responsibility of the respective department to convert the data into an information. What is the meaning of information then? This is what we are going to discuss in this chapter. See, basically the meaning of information processing is converting unorganized fact, that is the data, into meaningful, useful, and timely information. Timely information is called information processing. Information is a processed data. We are going to convert the data into information. How we are going to do this? How we are going to do this? What is the purpose of this? This is what we are going to discuss in detail in this chapter. What is the use of information processing in office automation? How we are going to perform information processing for office automation? When we are defining the information, there is another definition is given, Dr. Salah and Sriram in 2010. Information is an ordered sequence of data. Information is an ordered sequence of data which can be materialized by some means and which stimulates the knowledge. Just collecting the data, it is not going to be effective. We have to convert the data into an information. How we are going to make it? It should be an ordered sequence. It should be an ordered sequence. And then it should be gathered or materialized from some means. Maybe hard copies, maybe a tacit knowledge, maybe a explicit knowledge, which is going to stimulate it, isn't it? In some of the forms, we are going to materialize the data and we are going to convert into the information, and then it is going to stimulate the knowledge. Now, this processing involves manipulation of raw data through mathematical or logical operations. Processing involves manipulation of raw data through mathematical or logical operations. This is what we said when the employee comes and thumbs the machine. There is the data. The data needs to be converted into information. How it will be converted into information? The person was present on the day, but the finance department want who were absent on the day. That means there is a processing. How it is going to happen? The processing of data usable requires the following. When I want to, how I am going to do this? We need a computer hardware. We need computer software. We need communication channels of network. Computer hardware, even computer, we need CPU, we need laptop or any other means, even some machine. This is the hardware. We need a programming, computer programming, isn't it? Which will convert in the data into the information. And then we need a communication channel or network to pass the answer or the output from one place to the other place. So this is the processing of data happen in three the areas. One is computer hardware, computer software, communication channels, and network. Here is the major information processing cycle. The information processing cycle requires 6 steps. The first one is data origination. When the data is originated, then it has to be given as the input. Then the data will be processed. Then the data will be stored. Then the data will be given as an output. Then finally, this is distributed. So the information processing cycle has the 6 steps: the data origination, data input, processing, storage, data output, and distribution. Again, I'm giving the example of the employees. The employees coming and they are making the thumb. The data is originated. Then the data is given as the input as the number of employees who were present on the day. Given as the input as the number of employees present on the day. And then it is processed for the employees who were absent. And both the data are stored in a computer or in a program or in a database. And then the data or the output is given as the result. Then that result is distributed to the department. Here is the diagram that reflects the basic information processing cycle. The step 1, data is originated, and step 2, data input. They are in the same cycle. After the data is collected, it will be going for the process and it has to be stored, because when the employee is making the thumb, the data is getting stored first and then simultaneously it will be processed. After this 2 action, the data is going for the output, and then finally it is distributed from one point to other point. This is the basic information processing cycle. This is basic information processing cycle. Now we are going to discuss step by step all the 6 steps. We are going to discuss what is the meaning of data origination, what is going to happen in each step, what is going to happen in each step. See, in an organization, the data is available each and every places. Now, the basic principle for the decision making, the source document need to be identified. The source document need to be identified. The source document will be having the raw data. Now, the basic important thing, we have to check for the accuracy and validity. Maybe I am checking some document. I went to the storeroom and I found something in the source document, but which is about 2010 or 2005. Now the document do not have the validity. So we are going to check the source document data for the accuracy, whether it is correct or not, and whether it is valid or not. This is the second step. The quality of the data are analyzed carefully, because the data quality is the most important for the output. For the correct output, the result depends on the quality of the data. Otherwise, the result cannot be correct. It may lead to a wrong decision making process. So now the first thing, the quality of the data are analyzed carefully. Then the data are organized for processing, because input, process, output. So we need to organize the data for processing. Then the data are kept ready for input. I have collected all the data from the source document. I'm keeping it ready. Okay, I'm going to type them, or I'm going to enter them into the system. For this, again, I can give you an example of entering the marks by the instructor. The instructors, they are conducting the exam or the quiz, and then they will start correcting the papers. isn't it? Then they will put the mark, they will distribute to the student. After the distribution, after the discussion in the classroom, if there is any need for changing or updating the mark, the things will be done. And then the teacher will arrange them. Now the data is ready, but this is only a mark. The marks are ready, the data is ready. Now the teacher will enter the mark into the system. What he will do now, you know that very well, the system will be in alphabetical order or maybe in number order. In general, most of the system follows the alphabetical order with respect to the section. Maybe in section A of section 1, office automation, he's having 40 students or 35 students. Now the instructor will arrange them in the alphabetical order. Now the data is ready. Now the instructor, he has to give the data into the input. What is the purpose of the input? Now the system is the data are prepared depending on the processing machine. What type of programming language or what type of program we are using, based on that we are going to prepare the processing, or we are going to prepare the data. You know that very well. Sometimes when you may have heard about CSV format, sometimes we can upload the document, Word document or text document as it is into the system, or we can use the Microsoft Excel and we can export the data into the system. So based on the processing machine and the system, the data are prepared. They are organized in a convenient form, either in the hard copy or in the Word document or in the text document or in the Excel sheet, whatever the convenient form it is getting converted. They are organized. Then the data are converted into machine readable form. Please you check what is the meaning of CSV format in Excel. In general, which most of the companies they are using for importing and exporting the data using Excel CSV format, comma delimited format. Now this steps required speed, because when I want to enter the data, this steps require speed and accuracy, as this is the time consuming. Either I have to type the data in the Excel sheet, I need the time. Even otherwise I want to type the data directly into the system, then I need the time, and I have to be very careful in typing. You know that very well. Sometimes when we are typing 18, by mistake we will put 81 in the opposite. Is it possible for the marks to make the change? What is the big difference between 18 and 81? You know that, isn't it? So we have to do speed and accurately. In general, complex data are broken down into simple form. If I am having a long data, if I am having a complex data, for example, some teacher, he may be giving the input at the end of the semester. He will be collecting all the 6 assignment or 7 assignment, and then he will make the internal marks. He will conduct the examination. He will be collecting everything all together, and then he will be entering the data. Or on the other side, the teacher may be conducting the examination, and he will be giving the inputting the system immediately. He'll input the data immediately. So in such cases, the complex data are broken down into simple form. Data are coded through formal and strict syntax. Whatever the form is required, then it is formed. Maybe we are going to use the integer format, sometimes for the numbers, or we are using the data names in the string format. So we are going to code the data in formal and strict syntax. Now data are entered either in batch or online. There are different types of input. This is what we are going to discuss in the next slides. Either the data can be entered either in batch or online. Batch means collecting the data in one place and then entering the data into the system. Online, this is what the teachers we are doing in the classroom about the attendance. We are going to the system. Immediately we will call you on the system. Whoever absent, we are marking them absent on the system itself directly. That's why we are telling you that we cannot make the changes. So either we can make either in the batch or on online. Data is entered through keyboard or any other input device connected to a computer. We are going to enter the data either using the keyboard or any other input device connected to the computer. Now we are going to discuss the different types of input, how we are going to make. The first idea is called batch input. The first idea is called batch input. Now in batch input, initial data are collected from the source document. We are going to collect the data from the source document. Again, I can give you another example for this. When you are joining in the college, you are writing the data, you are writing, giving you all the information in the admission form, isn't it? Now, there is a source document of the information about the student who is joining the college. It is getting collected through the admission form. The data recorded on the source document are entered at later stage. We are not going to enter the data immediately because maybe more number of students may be coming inside. So the data will be the admission form will be collected from the student, and they will allot the number. They will tell you that on the next day, please come and collect your student's ID card, isn't it? So the data will be entered later. Processing a transaction as a group at future date is known as batch processing. That is, maybe future date means future time, not on the same time, maybe doing at the future time. I am collecting the data from maybe 10 students or 15 students in the morning session, and the afternoon section, we are entering the data into the system. We are processing the data into the system. This is called batch processing, collecting the data and then keeping them ready for the input and then entering the data simultaneously. The data entered for batch processing are stored in a transaction file. Data entered for the batch processing are stored in a transaction file. At future time, all data are processed in sequence in batch. All the data, because the first student, second student, third student, fourth student, all the data are collected and they will be processed in the student. This is the first student. I gave the number to maybe 2019 001. Take the data, take the source document, the transaction file, the admission form is there. I will be collecting the data from it, and then I will be entering the data by numbers. So at future time, all data are processed in sequence in a batch. Then the processed data stored for future use in a master file. Once if you enter the data, then the data will be in the program database. Then the transaction file processed is used to update the master file. Then we are going to keep the hard copies of the transaction file. We are going to keep them in a separate place for the future. So in batch input, we are going to collect the data and we are going to input the data into the system in one time, in future time. The data where we are going to collect the data from the transaction file and the source document, and then we are going to process them in the sequence, and then we are going to save them in a master file. We are going to store them in a master file. There is another system which is called online. Most network based information system is designed for online input. Listen, not only your admission system, our attendance system, you are going to library and you are collecting the document, that is also a online system. They can, even you are checking directly in online and you are collecting your books, isn't it? So most network based information system is designed for online input. User enters transaction through an input device directly. We are going to enter the data directly. Even for example, I can give you another very good example for the in library. What you are doing, you are registering the book. You are going online and you are registering the book in the software, and I need the book. So whenever the librarian receives the information, already the data, you have entered the data, just they are going to process, that's all, whether it is available or not. They are going to check the availability of the book. If the book is available, they are going to give it to you, otherwise they are going to deny. So the user transaction through an input device directly. The input device need to be connected to the computer system online. So we are connecting to the software directly. Online processing requires direct access storage device. The data are stored in the database. Maybe we are using the Oracle database. We are having the server. So the data will be stored in the server. Data are stored and retrieved from random location assigned by the operating system. Data are stored and retrieved from the random location assigned by the operating system. This you discussed in detail about in basic computing, isn't it? Now, the transaction data are processed immediately with the data updated to master file. So we are having the transaction data, we are correcting the data, immediately we are processing into the master file. If the user receives immediate result, then the processing is known as real time. Your computer software is real time, because what is happening when you are entering the data, when you are asking for the book, immediately the system itself, it is giving you the reply based on the availability in the storage, whether the book is available or not. Immediately it is denying, or it is processing, it is telling please contact the library manager. If it is available, it is asking you to contact the librarian. Other, if it is not available, it is immediately showing, or it is rejecting the book is not available. And even sometimes in some of the system, it is providing the available date, maybe based on the students who has taken the book previously. Based on the student's data, it will show you this book may be available from this particular date, based on the return, so if the user receives the results immediately, then it is called real time. We are having another two methods. One is traditional data entry method that requires data to be recorded twice. First, record data on the source document, and then key data input. Traditional data entry method, this is what we are using in admission processes, initial admission processes. We are using the traditional data entry method, because when you are giving the document, you are giving your grade 10 or grade 11, grade 12 mark sheet, isn't it? And then you are giving your other required documents, pertinent documents, and you are writing all the data in a admission form. We are collecting the data. So this is the first time you are writing everything. And you know that very well. When you are going to the registration department, they are cross-checking with you. Is it correct or not? Do you have any IELTS? Do you have IC3? Or do you have ICDL? Do you have any other certification? Isn't it? And then they are creating the source document. Later, they are giving for the input. The next method is source data automation. The next method is source data automation. In source data automation allows data to be entered into the system at the time of the transaction originates. This I can give you an example again. After the completion of the admission, when you want to register to the course, how you are registering it. This is called source data automation, based on your study plan. Whether you are going to study diploma, you are going to study bachelor, based on your study plan, you are going to select the courses. So during the transaction itself, you are going to enter the data. It eliminates manual recording data on source document, then keying data input. What will happen in your registration system? It will show you the courses, isn't it? You are not going to type anything. I am going to study office automation. You are not going to select this. It will show you according to your study plan. These are all the courses available. Just you are going to click the subject which is available. Okay, I want to study office automation. Just you are going to give the input of the office automation source code or the subject code. As data are entered directly, machine readable codes are electronically stored as the time of transaction originates. So directly, as data are entered directly, machine readable codes are electronically stored at the time of the transaction originates. So when you are selecting office automation, you are not just you are selecting office automation. That's all, isn't it? You are giving this you are selecting the course subject code, automatically it will show you the course name. Just you are selecting which section you want, what you are doing in that, whether you want morning or you are evening, you want section 1 or section 2 or section 30, whichever the section you want, you are selecting the sections alone. Then you are saving the data. So the machine readable codes of the courses, of the course name, it is already ready, so it will be electronically stored at the time of transaction origination. So these are all the methods of input the data. These are all the methods for input the data. So now input is finished. So in computer, once input is finished, then it has to go for the processing, and then it has to go for the output. So when the processing data are manipulated to generate an output now, because finally you should know whether you have registered to the course or not, isn't it? Powerful technical means, methods and algorithms are used for data interpretation. So because they have to check when you are selecting the course, they have to check whether you have completed the prerequisite of the subject or not, isn't it? They have to, the machine should check whether you have completed the prerequisite or not. So if it is not finished, it is going to tell you that no, you cannot select the course. Why? Because you have not completed the prerequisite course. Maybe you have entered the data, but you have selected the course where the section is full. There is no number of students or more. The system cannot admit more number of students. So we are using a powerful means, methods and algorithm for the data interpretation. Data are processed through electronic data processing, mechanical processing, or automated data processing. We can use any electronic data processing, or we can do a mechanical processing. Because this again, I can give you an example. You are going to registration department, you are trying to register the course. When you are facing the problem, immediately you are going to the registration department and you are asking, I want to study this subject, why I could not register this? Then they can through the automated data processing. Now in this, the data are combined with other relevant information and converted into useful and understandable form. This is how we are giving you the study plan. At the final study plan, you will find what are all the courses you have completed and what are all the courses you have registered. So for the registered course, it will show you all. The completed courses, it will show you the grade, and for the other things, it will show you blank if you are not studied. Then depending upon the complexity and volume of data, the processing time varies. Depending on the complexity and volume of data, the processing time varies. What is the meaning of processing time then? The time interval between submission of data and receipt of the output is referred as turnaround time. The meaning of processing time, the time interval between submission of data and receipt of the output is referred as turnaround time. This depends on the length of the processing time, depends on amount of data to be processed. Because when we are having more number of students, you know that your system will be taking a small time. Maybe simultaneously students may be selecting the same course from the different places, isn't it? Maybe, see, the processing time may be a second, millisecond, nanosecond, that we don't know, but there will be a processing time. The type of information to be obtained as the result, this also made the important point. The processing mode, whether we are doing in the batch or online. And then configuration of the processor unit, the speed, cache, memory, and etc. So the processing time depends on amount of the data to be processed, type of information to be obtained, processing mode, configuration of the processor and unit. Now, once the processing is finished, the data has to be stored. When the processing is finished, the data has to be stored. Now the storage is where data and information are electronically held for future use. Now we are going to store this in the database. We are going to store this in the database. Now storage capacity is normally measured in bytes. You know that very well, isn't it? Storage capacity is measured in bytes. Data are saved either in soft or physical form. what you are doing, you are downloading the PDF form and you are storing them in the soft, or you are going to the teacher or you are going to the office room and you are taking the printout. So the data are saved either in soft or physical form. Now data are converted into meaningful, comprehensive and complete information. Now only when we are going to store, the data are converted into meaningful, comprehensive and complete information. This information are stored, either we can use them in the internal or external hard disk. Internal and external hard disk. You know about the CD drive and DVD drive. We can use the USBs. We can use the registers, or we can use the micro SD card. So we can store the data in any of these places. You know that very well. In our college, when we are processing the data, we are storing them in the internal server as well as in the our external server. We are using the two different hard disks, isn't it? Now we are coming to the next area called output. So input, process, the data is stored now. Now the data is ready for the output. This result or outcome is called information. Now the data is processed, everything. Now it is coming out as the information. This output needs to be interpreted correctly. This output need to be interpreted correctly. The output shall be in different forms, such as report document, graphical presentation, audio, and video. We can have any type of output. We can have any type of output. The output viewed in a computer screen is called the soft copy. The printed reports are called hard copy. The printed reports are called hard copy. This information shall be used with other data and information for further processing. Once if you get the output, you can use them with other data and you can go for the other processing. Now when the output is finished, we have to distribute. I would like to give you an example. Teacher, you said outputs need to be interpreted correctly. Can you give us any simple understandable example? You have registered, you have completed the result, you have completed the exam, the results are ready, it is published, you are taking the printout, and teacher, here is my mark sheet now. I have completed all the courses. I need 20 courses, I have finished 20 courses. But when I go to registration, they are telling, no, I have not completed the diploma, I have not completed the bachelor's. What is this? How come? Why? Because the output is ready, but you have to compare or you have to interpret correctly. Yes, you have completed all the requirement, but maybe you have completed all the courses, you are not completed the GPA. Isn't it? You need the CGPA, maybe your CGPA is not correct. Or maybe you have by mistake, you have registered some additional courses which is not related to your program. Isn't it? So this is called interpretation correctly. The output is ready. Your mark sheet is ready. You are having the hard copy of your mark sheet. Now you have to interpret correctly whether you have completed all the 20 courses and then you completed with the CGPA, required CGPA 2.0 and above. Then only this output is the valid information. Then only this output is called valid information. Now we are going to make the distribution. Dissemination of the information to the users through various means. We can send it through online, we can send it through email. Now we are going to disseminate or distribute the information to the users. The report shall be distributed or to local or remote users. The report shall be distributed to the local or remote users. Maybe even we are giving your information to the Ministry of Higher Education. If you are a ministry student, ministry is asking us about the details. Or maybe we are sending your information to your sponsor. If you are a private sponsor, we are giving the information to the sponsor. Now the report shall be distributed through computer networks and printouts. If you need the hard copy, you can take the printout. If you need only the soft copy, we are sending through the emails. Here is some sample question. Don't think that these are all only the questions, just I am giving you an idea. As we are going for online teaching due to the pandemic, how the questions will be. This is only an idea. Don't think that this is the only questions on this chapter. You have to read all the areas, all the slides. These are all the simple idea how the questions will be form. Thank you all.